Literally, I end up hanging out with the Gitanos, with the Gypsies in Spain by default. It was like I was one of them, and they accepted me as one of them too, which is very rare. So I ended up like hanging out with them sometimes, like doing palmas, like the clapping as they're like playing guitar and singing, and it was just like, whoa, like this is so raw. They're not doing it to be on stage, because I came from LA with the whole like playing the part story, and all of a sudden I'm here with these people that it's kind of like going, I related to the blues. It's almost like going to the deep south, and all of a sudden you're jamming with these three black dudes playing like slide guitar, and they're just doing it because they have to, not because like they need it, you know?
They need it for their soul. They need to.
Yeah. That like ignited that in me. That I was like, whoa, this is like taking music to another level. Like that is not just to show off, like, here's my technique, this is how badass I play, or like, let me just write like a song that's going to change the world. It's just like, because you have to, it's like the spirit. And in fact, on the flamenco culture, they say that to be a good flamenco player, you need duende, which is like a dark spirit, an elf that connects to the pain, to the suffering, to all these things, to be able to like express it. And I heard even there when I was there, like, you have duende. So I was like, whoa, I guess I do have duende.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Mikeadelic. I'm Mike Brancatelli, and I got a Herman Miller chair at the Goodwill for $20. It's an older one, but it's a damn good chair. Upgrading the studio and upgrading the podcast with today's episode. El Javi. Man, that fine shredding you just heard was Whispers from Eternity, one of his latest singles from his upcoming album, A Gypsy Journey Part 3, Samadhi. That's the final part of his trilogy of Gypsy Journeys. We talk about that. And that was that clip that you just heard. Part of his time spent in his travels, pursuing his music, his craft, exploring himself, his art. Anybody that's a creator, where they create from is what they create. And what they create creates them in return. And neither of those sayings are original Mikeadelics, unfortunately. Or someone said them somewhere. But I was able to recall them and repeat them here. So, but there's as we create, like what we're creating is a representation of us in a way. And so we talk about the creative process. I really love this conversation. You guys are going to dig this. So we'll get into it pretty soon. Just want to say thank you to everybody that leaves a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. I think we're at like 364 or something like that now. It's awesome. I really, really appreciate all the love and the support. I want to be putting out awesome podcast episodes, and I want people to be stoked about it. And if you guys are stoked, let the people know, so that the algorithms, the AI robots that are all going to enslave us in a couple years can at least, let us have a good time for now. So yeah, thank you. And check out all the links in the show notes. So everything that you hear from Javi today, check out his music. Follow Javi and get updates for, where he's going to be playing and get his music. It's just phenomenal stuff. So then there's Element Kombucha. Put in the promo code Mike11, get 11% off. This kombucha is like my favorite kombucha. It's just amazing. Actually, Element, can you send me some more of your dope ass kombucha, please? Because my taste buds are in desperate need. I can't expose them to this not so good kombucha. This subpar booch will not suffice. I need Element more. Please send me more. I could probably just email them, actually. I don't need to communicate here, but they'll know that it's on the record. I'm demanding more booch. Give me that fine, tasty booch. It's great. It's delicious. I mean, this is the best kombucha. I would consider myself to be like a kombucha connoisseur, I think. Right? Like I think I've had them all. I've had a lot. Element Kombucha is phenomenal. It's my new favorite. The Mountain Oolong, I could drink like 3 of those a day every day. Can you OD on booch? What if you boof booch? You might have an issue there. But not with Element Kombucha, because they don't have those extremely big fizzy bubbles where you're choking to get it down. It's smooth, crisp, with just the right amount of bubbles. That's right, folks. That's Element Kombucha. Put in the promo code Mike11 for 11% off. Satisfaction totally guaranteed. All right. And then Being True to You, Fungi Academy, of course, Sheath Underwear. They're awesome. All the links are in the show notes, so check that out. Everything that you want to know about this podcast, how to support it, show your love, follow Javi, and just experience the hell out of his awesome music. All the things you want will be in the show notes. And consider joining the Patreon, folks. We got bonus episodes and a Discord server. Is there anything else that I want to say? I don't know, man. This is a great episode. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. And just remember to do what you do when you like things. Much love. Appreciate y'all. Without further ado, let's mind jam with El Javi. My grunge playlist, and it's all new mail, even flow. Yeah, they all have that. Yeah, they're just like, hey, that's the style
for the era.
For that era. Yeah, But you stand alone. You stand apart. You stand in an authentic space of your own. Yeah,
It is cool.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool that I could, just a couple hours ago listening to your music, and now you're sitting here across from me. and we just recently got to know each other, but I heard of you through a mutual friend Bill, and you were like this kind of like myth. It's like El Javi, the myth of El Javi. Where does the myth of El Javi begin?
Oh my God. El Javi as El Javi, because I feel it's my alter ego, right? I created El Javi just to kind of separate myself and have that space between Javier Gutierrez and the artist El Javi, and also to have an image, to have a stage presence, to have a message. So I created El Javi purposely to have that, and I love also getting home and just taking off my clothes of El Javi and become Javier once again at home. But El Javi was created in probably like 2000 and when I say like 2008 or so, after my first album, because my first album I was still Javier Gutierrez, and then one day I remember talking to my sister that she's an art curator and she does all kinds of stuff, and she's like, why don't you create an alter ego? So I actually turned to journal, or at least I have tons of journals that they have different purposes. So I created one of El Javi, and I started writing down all the things that I wanted to embody as an artist. And I remember the first thing was like a young version of the most interesting man in the world, the Dos Equis guy.
I see that.
That was kind of like the first bullet point that I had. And then from there on, I just started developing even how musically, what do I want to do, and that has been refining throughout the years, just to kind of have a purpose and not so much an ego based, like I just want to be famous and blah blah. Like I want to contribute to the world somehow with my art. And so that's been a work in progress. But as El Javi, it's been like 2008, and so just developing my image, my sound, and all these things that keep evolving too.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing. I mean, because, we know more now about parts work and psychology and, the different parts of ourselves, the parts that we show to the world, the parts that we hide from the world, the unconscious parts. So we all are made up of all these parts, right? And so you creating this container of El Javi, do you feel that you're able to sort of do more with that you're able to kind of exemplify more of the parts of your personality as a musician? Absolutely.
Yeah. And up to the point that if I'm ill, like if I have a cold or something and I still have to perform, it's so bizarre when I put like all the clothing of El Javi on and everything, and then I know it's time, I don't feel sick. So it's very powerful actually when you have that character that you embody, because then all like the fears or the being tired or sick in this case goes away.
Right.
And all of a sudden you're just this like powerful being that is like, okay, it's time to perform, it's time to give to others, and let's do this. Let's get on stage.
Yeah. Like Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the Javi cave.
Yeah.
And go in there and yeah.
Yeah, I still obviously, it's not that I'm completely not El Javi, it's not that I created something completely away from myself, because even when I perform, I tell my story. Like that's what El Javi is about, because I do instrumental music, and to set up like the story before I play, I tell, hey, like I wrote this song while I was going through this and that. Like, so it's very vulnerable even. Like I just completely share to strangers who I am and where I come from and where is my fears or my pains and all these things.
Did that start in 2008 as well, or were you doing that beforehand as well?
No, that's like maybe later on even. Like I think the storytelling part started until like maybe 2014 even. Like before I would just play and not say almost anything. At first it's awkward, to be on stage.
Yeah.
Like So that's been a work in progress, like just kind of that part of the storytelling, and it's very beautiful. I think that's obviously playing is my favorite, but the storytelling and just sharing who I am, it's such an essential part of my show.
Yeah, I mean, Whispers from Eternity, when you played that at our retreat, you remember?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And you didn't say exactly what it was, but you did say it was for somebody there. And it kind of clicked in me. I was like, oh, I kind of get maybe what this song's about right now. And to me, what I felt was like these moments of, in that song, these moments of like, all right, cool, like I got it all together, like shit's working, like hell yeah. And then it's like, oh my God, shit's crazy again.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, is that kind of...
Yeah, well, and that fully reflects this part in my life when I quit drinking.
Right.
And that's why like I dedicated it to somebody that was talking about that. And yeah, it was like this beautiful moment where I received the message. Even it was a spiritual experience, and that's the story that I tell when I play the song, because that's what happened. I was in Mexico, and I was like walking through a jungle, going back to the hotel where I was staying at from a party. I was like drinking, and I left alone. And as I'm walking through like a tunnel made by trees on both sides, there was trees that met kind of like in the middle, and I started hearing whispers, like voices that I saw as God or the divine just telling me like, Javi, you need to stop. Like if you want to step into your power, into your purpose, you cannot be living life like this. So I heard it and I followed it, and it was a challenge. Like, and that's what the song reflects, because once you step into a purpose, you have to shed all the things that don't support the purpose. And that's when they get challenging, because you have to accept like this is not working and this is ugly and I can't. Sometimes you're like, I cannot do this, but then you must, you know. So it's like that's what the song reflects. At some point it was just this inner struggle. Sometimes it's like I just want another drink, please. Like, no, you can't. You know?
Was that the hardest part for you? I could imagine it would be a hard part with friends and playing gigs, you know, they're serving alcohol and things like that. Like, what was that really a big struggle?
Super, you know, because that you alienate yourself to begin from the world, because everybody functions on alcohol.
Yeah, the whole world is driven by booze. Yeah.
Yeah, so then you feel lonely at first, and then also I felt so judgmental towards everyone, because I'm just like, almost like I'm holier than everybody else, almost,
sure,
you know.
Yeah.
But then at the same time not, you know. Then in that loneliness, then you're just like, then who am I? Like, how do I have fun? And then how do I connect with others? How everything, you know, I had to relearn myself.
Yeah, because we have these kind of automatic ways of being that just become comfortable, and it becomes a part of who we are. And then if you're being asked, like you said, you must, because you felt this higher calling. It's like, this is what you're here to do.
Mm-hmm.
And this other part was dragging you down, but you're like, well, who the fuck am I going to be if I'm... So what was that? What were you like thinking and feeling during that period? Like, we're having doubts about your identity or yourself?
Everything. It makes you question everything that I did up to that point, you know, because I realized how a lot of my actions were based on that lifestyle. And all of a sudden, after I quit, I started judging myself like, I was awful, you know? So it was like, first, it was just looking at myself. Like, the world was secondary. It was just this inner work completely of like, oh my God, I've been awful. I've been terrible, just judging myself and being almost bad, you know, to myself. So I had to take on practices just to kind of be gentle with myself. And that's where meditation came in. And I had this angel that came into my life out of the blue, this woman that just took me into her practice to do neuroplasticity and just really helped me out to just process a lot of things.
Neuroplasticity.
Uh-huh.
What modality was that? Like,
it was through like very intensive yoga at first. And then she will have me like meditate with certain process, kind of like visualization of certain things that you burn. Like you physically kind of have to pretend that you're burning your old self.
Oh, wow.
Like she will be like, you have a container in front of you. Let's put fire in it. And now you're going to throw all the things that you don't need of yourself in it. And that's kind of like the first process of neuroplasticity. You get rid of something, and then you had to integrate something new in place of what you got rid of.
Mm. Did you have periods of time where you slipped up in the beginning?
No, I completely cold turkey.
Wow.
I didn't touch alcohol. I haven't touched alcohol since that. Well, I still spent like the next day in Mexico, and my last drink was on the fly back from Mexico to LA. Actually, I was flying into LA before coming here, and I had 2 drinks because I had Southwest tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, this is it. And I said goodbye. I had a guy next to me cheering. I was like, I'm quitting after this. And he's like, yeah, sure, dude.
Want to find that guy? I hope that guy's listening right now. Here he is. He's drinking a LaCroix, Pamplemousse.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah. Wow. So that moment in Mexico then was a really profound moment where you heard those whispers. I mean, that must have really struck you then to make you stay on the path that way.
I've never heard voices, so it was just like, and I was not on a psychedelic experience or anything.
Yeah.
It was just I was drunk, but I've never heard voices before. And it was just so clear that I was just like, I must listen to this. And since then, obviously my spiritual practice, it was like a proof that the divine is talking to us all the time. And unfortunately, they're they're whispers. That's why the title of the song too, because they're just always there is whispering so much, and we're so loud. Our thoughts, our voices, everything. We're always so loud that we don't get to hear the divine speaking to us.
Right. Yeah, you quiet it down, and you can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Quiet down the noise. Get out of the chatter of the mind.
Yeah.
And
it's so hard, we think we're so important that we must listen to ourselves all the time.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's not even ourselves that we're listening to. It's just these like programmed behaviors or habits wanting to act out.
Yeah.
Because we're familiar and comfortable, routine. I mean, I've been smoking tobacco again, and I like convince myself that it's okay because it's like good tobacco and organic, and I'm doing it way less than I was before. But I know that a large part of it is the routine.
Sure.
It's like, oh wow, a cup of coffee and a smoke, beautiful. That sounds great. And I have to actively stop that and replace it with something else. So were you replacing, like, did you find yourself in points where you were like, fuck, like, what do I do with myself right now? Like, did you have groups, or did you have people that you could get together with or lean on? Because I think it's the times that I find myself in the weakest state where I reach for the thing is usually when I'm alone and I don't know what to do, and I'm just kind of bored, and I know that that's there.
No, I did it all very alone.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was hard. But I like challenges. I'm the type of person, like, even my music reflects that, in the sense that I'm always challenging myself to play better, or at least better for myself, I guess. So I'm always looking for the next challenge. So to me, even that experience was like, I can do this. And so I didn't go to AA or any type of group
amazing.
like that. Although I do consider myself an alcoholic, but I was like, that just to submerge myself on the problems, because I feel like sometimes those groups is just all about like, oh, let's just only talk about the problems, and like I was just like,
heavy.
Yeah, they're kind of heavy, or at least in my eyes, maybe they're not. But I was just like, I just want to step into a new life. So I just full on took on like meditation, breath work, and reading. I started reading a lot of books, like novels, not only self-help books too, which I also have my share of, but just reading, writing, drawing, spending more time with my daughter, and just doing things that I felt I neglected because of doing the other.
Oh, so you were already feeling that sense of neglect. So now you created the space. All that stuff was just there waiting for you to pay attention to it.
Exactly.
Ah.
And I think that we all do. I always say that we all know when we're doing something that is not good for us.
Right.
Like we choose to ignore it and excuse it and be like, I love having fun, like, so why not, type of thing.
Right.
But we know. No, I think we all know when things are not right for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think we can all feel it.
Yeah.
It comes in a feeling. It's not so much like an objective analysis.
Exactly.
Like I used to have a friend who would say, yeah, he drank a lot, and probably an alcoholic, but he would rationalize it by saying like, hey, I get all my shit done. I go to work, I make money, I pay my rent, I do everything. But I'm like, yeah, but you feel like shit all the time.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but when I'm drinking, I feel great. I'm like, all right, well, I don't know what to tell you. You'll figure it out, I guess. That's the thing, is everybody has to figure it out for themselves, right? Because had anyone in your life like came to you before and said like, hey man, this is kind of an issue?
Not heavy directly, not like an intervention, but I definitely had instances with relationships and whatnot, like that they brought it up. Just like how my drinking was like a little excessive and maybe I could chill.
Right. But only
Yeah.
It's just like what you were saying with music. Like you're playing because you know what you can play and you want to play better and you're challenging yourself. At the end of the day, I mean, that's really all that we're up against. We think we're like, there's some world out there that really gives a shit.
Yeah.
Or whatever, it's fucking bullshit.
I know. It is something else. Definitely the best decision of my life, though. Like my music, my connection with the world, my connection with the divine. It definitely cleared up so many things.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I see how much we do that, even with food. I started realizing how anything that we put in our bodies, doesn't matter how organic or how pure we can label it, ultimately becomes like something like a filter between us and the divine, if you want to call it, like specifically to the divine. Because now with my meditation and Tai Chi and all these practices, I noticed that even when I eat something, I don't feel right completely as compared to when I'm maybe fasting or when I'm I have more of a pure system. It feels easier to tap into that. But water or a drink or a soda or all that sugar, or it's just and even plant medicine can get on the way of that purity. Like we are already there. And all these things are just to remind us of our own capacity to do all these things. So we tend to like latch or hold on to all these things because we feel like we need it. And to me, even drinking was like that, because drinking made me happy, made me more social or more accepting of others. Like I would just hang out with anyone when I was drunk.
Yeah.
Perhaps now I have more boundaries that I don't give my time to all those people that I would when I was drunk.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Although I do miss sometimes how open it will make me be, where I didn't feel so judgmental, perhaps.
You didn't feel judgmental?
Not at all. I would be just so friendly and I would love everyone.
Yeah.
Drunk.
Well, I get that from you now, though, and you're sober. So it's like, I'm not like... You're just you're a really open, generous, kind, what's the word? Gregarious person. Yeah, you're like funny and likable, affable.
Yeah, it's all there. You know, it's just so weird how sometimes we don't think we are those things, and then we feel we need all these substances to take us to that place.
Yeah.
And then everybody sees us like, dude, you're fine. You're like connected and loving and all these things. It's like, oh wow, maybe I don't need to do all these things.
Can you call me and tell me that every day?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, as Ram Dass said that when he was talking about LSD, and he said that I forget how he called it, like samadhi, or maybe it wasn't samadhi. It was, what's the like total enlightenment?
Yeah, samadhi is total.
Yeah, he's like samadhi has come in the form of a material substance.
Yeah.
Because we live in a material culture.
Yeah.
So that everything, you're right. Like everything is like, oh, we need all these exterior material things because that's the way that our culture is. So even when it comes in the form of plant medicines or LSD or things like that, I mean, you know, it's all right here within us, right? But who's going to make money off of that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, ultimately everything is become a product, and that even is a challenge for me in my music, you know, I wish I could just offer it and be and it does come like that actually. During COVID, I saw that very clear. I started just offering it because I lost all my work. So I was like, you know, I'm just going to offer it because I need to play and people need music.
Yeah.
And I saw the power of offering more than expecting. Like we tend to expect things, and like if I work, I need this amount of money. And when you offer, you get paid either way. Like somehow you get paid, even if it's just by the love of others. That's huge. And then sometimes they send you $1,000.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, what?
Right.
Like that happened to me.
Wow.
During COVID, all of a sudden, just somebody sent a huge Venmo, and I was like, oh my God, I'm good for like the next couple of months.
Wow.
You know, and I was not expecting it. I didn't ask for it. You know, I'm just, once you start offering, people send back.
Totally, man. I love that. I think it's like, you know, one of my favorite authors, Charles Eisenstein, talks about this in his book, and many of his books, Sacred Economics, The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible, the spirit of the gift. We don't necessarily live in a culture that fosters a spirit of giving without expecting anything in return. And, you know, the native traditions of this land and many lands before would practice gift giving all the time. And you know, we live in this very transactional, private property, keep out, you know, the kind of culture. But amazing things happen, as you've experienced, when you just give from a place of love, and the things that you get in return, there's no way that you could say, oh, well, I hope I get something like this. It's like just amazing. People do that for this show, and I try and like do a lot of donation. You know, like, one of the things that kind of irks me a little bit is there'll be suggested donation.
Sure.
Like suggested donation, $20 to $50. It's like, all right, well, I mean, I get it, I guess, because people are still trying to dance that line as saying like, hey, we really want to give, but like we're also
we
like,
need
under
to make
the
a
gun.
living.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's an amazing thing. So what were you doing during COVID? Were you playing live stream shows? Or
Yeah, I was doing Facebook live streams weekly, Monday nights, like always. But like did it for like maybe 6 months or so, 5 months.
Amazing. Wow.
And obviously sometimes I will not make much money, you know, and then it's just like, well, but I'm still there, and then people are still logging in, and I will get so many messages of be like, thank you so much, like this means so much to me right now because I'm like just at home, like people are in lockdown, the middle of lockdown, and it meant a lot for people just to kind of have an artistic outlet in their lives or something.
Yeah.
So that was just beautiful, actually, just to receive all those messages and emails. So good.
Yeah, that really nourishes the soul. And, you know, for that person that gave you the gift of $1,000, in a way, it's like he or she kind of covers for the people who, would love to but can't.
Exactly.
And it's like, that's something special too. It's like, hey, if you can give, great. If not, great.
Totally.
Whatever.
But what's interesting with donation and mentality is how much, and I don't know if it happens to you when sometimes you want to donate and then you feel bad, like if you're like, well, if I just donate $2, like you wish you could donate 100 or 50, but maybe you don't have, but you could wish you could donate $2, and then sometimes we don't because we feel that that's little. And if everybody, like if 100 people donated $2, that's $200 for the person that needs that donation. And instead of feeling like, hey, this is not enough, That's
right. Every dollar counts. Every worthless, decrepit fiat currency with former slave-owning assholes on the money. Send them my way, folks. If everyone donated $2 to this podcast, I wouldn't have to do anything else.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. Like, it's the whole thing of, I've been reading some books in regards of how to be like entrepreneur, or I guess like self-employed, and especially as an artist. And they talk about like the 1,000 fans.
Yeah.
Like to just only have 1,000 fans. And if those 1,000 people spend $100 a year, $100 a year in you, which is not that much, like less than $10 a month.
Yeah.
That's $100,000 for you.
Yeah.
Like that's a good living, I guess.
We're almost there, folks. Spread this podcast. Yeah, that's what it's all about, really. I always tell people, like, I'm kind of hamming it up right now, but I genuinely tell people, like, hey, man, if this is like something that you like, just share it. Just tell people about it. I mean, I think that's the best way to do it is like, hey, I heard this awesome track. You got to hear it. Just share it with people. Share the love.
Exactly. That's even probably better than money. I would tell people that, like, in my live streams, I know there's donation, but please just share. Just tell your friends about my music, because that's more important, like that it goes to more people than just like the financial thing.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a difficult thing when you really truly just want to be a creator. And in living in a consumerist world. Yeah,
it is weird.
Yeah.
It's fun too, I guess, like just to navigate everything, because even for me, the whole marketing aspect of my career, it's also artistic.
Yeah.
Because you had to figure out like a way that works for you, a way that like represents you. Like you just... Because I've bought books on online marketing and on the funneling and all these things. And I was like, oh, geez, like that doesn't speak to me. And like, what am I going to funnel people into? Like...
Funnel them into another funnel.
Yeah, it's like 6 funnels and like this endless funneling.
Well, that's some asshole trying to make money. I mean, look, I'm sure there's some good tactics and stuff like that. But everybody thinks that they have the way. It's like, just follow my 10 steps and you'll be rich.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's not really working for me,
Yeah, because I know it's
I'd rather do it a different way. Do it the way that you feel most connected to.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then they never tell you the steps.
Well, you got to buy the next book.
Yeah. It's
or
like
sign up for the course.
Like an endless funnel that like you never get the key to success that they claimed at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, think about it. There's a whole self-help entrepreneur industry, right? Like conferences and courses and books and coaches and everybody. And there's like, I definitely have gotten into that. Like, okay, I got to read the next book. But then all you do, like for me, is just like I read a book about like how to be better, and then I'm on to the next one. It's like there's no real lasting thing. Tony Robbins, right? Like one of the motivational speakers. Like there's people that go to his things like all the time.
I know.
It's like, well, shouldn't the mark of a good coach or guru
just
or
once.
Yeah, you just like, dude, here's what you got to do. I'll help you with it. Great, you're good. Okay, great. Keep going.
Yeah.
So it's a whole industry. Like everything becomes this like industry.
Totally.
You know, like we'll make sure that you're not like dying, but like you're just a little sick, so we can stay on these meds. Just like we'll just kind of keep that going. You know?
Yeah. Do you find that weird how we then use that as like it makes us feel productive or something? Like instead of actually do what you wanted to do, you put that energy onto like improving yourself or whatever to someday do what you really want to do.
Dude, I do this, man. I'm guilty of this. Also, not so much anymore, but in the past, like I would spend hours like watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, the 7 habits. I'll do that in the morning. Oh, what else can I do?
Yeah.
So all I'm doing now is consuming this information to try and make me better, and not actually doing it. But I feel like I'm doing it because now I know it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny. My friend Ramin Nazer has like a little comic strip piece about that on Instagram. You know, he makes these little drawings and stuff. But yeah, what take me back even further. Like, what was it like growing up for you? And you know, who are some of your big like influences and getting into music, and how that all shape up? Tell me the tale, the story.
Backstory.
Yeah.
The behind the music.
Behind the music, yeah.
Yeah, I love behind the music. Well, I always loved music. You know, I grew up with my parents that like collect, especially my dad collects albums all the time. Like he's always buying, even from artists, and I'm like, really, Billie Eilish? Why would you buy a Billie Eilish album? But like he and as much as like a re-edition of John Coltrane or something, you know, like. So I grew up listening to every genre of music in my household, like from Japanese music to classic rock. So I feel like I always had music in my head, playing all the time. And at 12, when I finally started playing the guitar, it was like, oh my, finally, you know, it felt like a relief because there was all this music that needed to happen. And at first I didn't compose. He was just like, man, finally I can play all the songs that I listened to that I wish I could play. So it always started like that. I never thought, well, at the beginning I never contemplated really writing my own material. It was just like fun to play other people's music. Yeah.
Do you remember what songs you played first? Like some of your favorite songs to play?
Yeah, I remember I started with Guns N' Roses and Hendrix, Zeppelin, Metallica.
Yeah.
And the pivot point in my life that like I was like, I would really want to do this forever was when I heard the Metallica live album in Mexico City, like in '92 on the Black Albums tour. And I heard a song called Sanitarium. And I remember just hearing the intro, and I was like, and then hearing the audience. That's what I love live albums.
Ding, ding. Yeah.
And just hearing like people just going crazy with the intro, and I was just like, I want to do that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And that was it. That was from there on. I just never took that finger off the, how you call it, like of the line on. I don't know. There's a saying in Spanish when you're following kind of like a book with your...
Oh, yeah. You never deviated from the... I don't know what the expression... I get expressions wrong all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You just stayed the path. Yeah.
Yeah, and at first...
Where did you grow up again?
In Mexico City.
Okay.
Yeah. And
you were...
Until I was 19. In 19, I moved to LA. That's when I moved to the States, which is pretty young for a Mexican, actually, to leave the household. A lot of my friends were with their parents until they were like in their 20s.
Yeah. I got some friends living in Mexico that are about my age.
Yeah.
Still living with their parents.
Yeah, my sister didn't move out until she was like 33, 34.
Yeah.
So to me, 19, it was because my mission was music. I moved to go to the Musicians Institute in Hollywood and pursuing that Hollywood dream, you know? And I remember arriving to Hollywood, and it's so awful. Like, it's not the way it's in the movies.
No,
Well, I guess some movies painted the way it actually is.
Some,
There is
but
like-
yeah, it's not like as glamorous or
Not at all.
spectacular as you would think.
Yeah.
Kind
I
of a
showed up.
shock.
And it was kind of cool. Like, I was supposed to rent this place from this dude that like was part of the school, and apparently that he didn't work for it. So anyways, he was supposed to show up at the airport to pick me up. So I was there. This is before cell phones, and I was like, nobody to pick me up. Went, and there was still phone books on the phone booths.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like trying to find this guy's name and nothing, and I'm like, oh, fuck it, I'm just gonna get a taxi. And it was like full on like in a movie, you know, where I'm like, taxi where? To Hollywood.
Take me to Hollywood.
Yeah. To a motel in Hollywood. I was like, I need a place to stay for the night, and then I need to figure out what the hell where am I gonna live, you know. Thankfully, actually, my parents supported me financially all throughout, so it's like at least I didn't have that, like I don't have money or all that. But yeah, that was the beginning of my US experience. And I also had such a fun story when I was in immigration. I had all my paperwork for studying and all that, and the officer is like, oh, so why are you here? I'm like, I'm here to study music. He's like, are you the new Santana?
He said that.
Uh-huh. And it's interesting because now I've heard it a few times now, like being obviously a Mexican American now that I have the citizenship too, just like Santana, and just creating this fusion of Latin flavor music with rock, just like Santana did. So he was the first of a few in my path, like I said, that being the new Santana.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, I didn't know much about Santana until I guess it was 99 or 2000. He put out some album.
Yeah, with all the rockstar people.
Yes. Yeah.
Supernatural.
Mm-hmm. And he's got some great songs on that album. Most of them that I like are not the ones that were like the big top 40 ones or whatever. But then, you know, whatever, I was just like, wow, this guy's dope. Like, I didn't know anything about him. Then some people were like, oh, you got to watch his Woodstock thing. And then someone was like, have you ever heard Abraxas by Santana? I was like, no. And so, similar thing, my dad, like, I don't know, I looked at my dad's kind of like nerdy. No offense, Dad. But, you know, he likes like taking like photography and, you know, old cameras and just very to himself and stuff. And I never looked at him as like someone that was like into rock or anything. And one day my parents were out and they had a record player and I didn't know, like I was like downloading songs off Napster or whatever. And I was just like, what is this old record player? Why do they still have this? Like, what's the big deal? And then I started sifting through the albums and he's got all these albums in there, like Santana and Bruce Springsteen and the Rolling Stones and Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. I'm like, what? Like, what?
Yeah.
And then I put it on the record player. Whoa. I was like, okay, I get it now. I understand why this is the sound.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a depth, like a richness to it.
Totally. Yeah. I'm actually getting ready to buy my first record player and start collecting some vinyls because I was in LA a couple of months ago. My friend put the Black Star album, David Bowie's, his latest album, and he had it on vinyl. And I've been listening to it on CD. I actually have the CD of it, and it sounded fuller on vinyl. I was just like, wow, because I've been listening for the past few years. I don't know when it came out. So I kind of used to the sound of the CD as it is. And then when I heard on vinyl, I was like, wow, like I haven't heard that little tiny thing over here on the left side. And on the right side, there is this other thing. Just really clear or something.
Yeah, it is. It's clear, it's rich, it has depth, it has more of a vitality to it or life to it.
Yeah.
Warmth.
Yeah.
And how do they get the music in there? It's like it blows my mind.
Grooves that
the grooves
get read by a needle.
And
then transfer electricity into. It's so bizarre.
It's magic.
Yeah,
we live in a magical world. I mean, it's crazy, you know. So when you got to LA and eventually you like figured out a place to live and all that kind of stuff, and then what from there? What was it like to become the next Santana to
Yeah.
fulfill this
Well,
guy's dream at the immigration office.
Yeah, well, I spent a year at this school. It was supposed to be a year and a half program, and I tested out. Like I already had like a good level, and I think I could have even tested out more, but my English was still kind of like so. From spending most of my life speaking Spanish, you know, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, now it's only English. So I felt like a lot of my schooling there was learning everything of music in English. But then I had also incredible like teachers that really inspired me, that changed my life. I took a funk class with Ross Bolton. He played with Tower of Power and many of the funk big bands. A couple classes with Norman Brown, which is a jazz musician, and just like seeing the LA life, that people there take it very serious. Like you see in Mexico that people take music serious, but they're like music nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just want to know as much as they can of theory and like know all the terms of musical or whatever. But in LA, people take it serious as a career.
Right.
They're like freaking like they look the part.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something you don't see in Mexico, and just kind of see a whole town full of people playing the part, because LA is like that. Everybody's playing a part for something.
Right.
Like either you're an actor or a musician or a producer or whatever. Like everybody looks like what you're supposed to look and drive the car that you're supposed to drive. Everything is very cliche, but that's such a great school in a sense. Just as a city, you learn a lot from that, and I feel like my musical ethics on how I carry my career are a lot thanks to my life in LA.
Okay, yeah, because there's a certain kind of energy that you're around. You're like feeding off of the energy, and everybody's feeding off of the same kind of drive and wanting to make it and take it seriously, and yeah, play that part up. I mean, you know, we're here for a limited time on Earth. Like, what are we gonna just not play a part?
Yeah.
Play the part.
Yeah. Obviously, it takes it takes a lot from you, you know, to like get out of your shell as well. And like learn how your part looks,
right?
Because that's what happened to me. I saw everybody's part, and now that we're putting that analogy, and I didn't know who I was. I already at this point played for like maybe 10 or something years, and I felt lost. Like I've been playing other people's music, I have nothing to show for. You know, so I actually quit playing for like 6 months. Like I felt so depressed. I finished school, and that was like a heavy drinking time in my life. You know, so I just like submerged myself in drinking but not playing much. Eventually, I had to make a living too. Once my parents were not supporting me anymore, so I started teaching. And I was like, well, I kind of reconnect to the instrument in its basics almost. Once you start teaching people from like, hey, here's a chord. And at some point I had an 7-year-old student, Noah Benardu, that kid changed my life. And I changed his life too. It was just this beautiful, more like sensei disciple life experience. And he was my first student that, when I asked him, like, why do you want to learn how to play the guitar? He like, to write my own songs. And I was on that quest. And
wow,
no school taught me that.
Right.
Like none of the universities or like institutes or teachers ever have that mentality to like, hey, we have to create musicians to be creative. It's more like we're creating musicians to be badass players. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So like the schools are basically teaching you like what? The fundamentals, the theory, the history.
Yeah, and how to improvise, what the scales and all this theory, but none of them are pushing anyone to create.
Right.
And so to me, that's missing so much in the school system in regards of music. And I don't know if all the arts are kind of, probably not, but...
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, like history. They're like, here's what happened. Memorize that and then regurgitate it, and we'll give you a grade. But they don't really spend a lot of time on critical thinking or analysis. Like, what do you think about that? Like, how does that feel for you?
And how could you make this yours, perhaps? Like, okay, now that I taught you this, write a 2-minute song with this theory.
Yeah.
I don't know, stuff like that. So this kid, I started teaching him. He could barely even hold the guitar and barely even press the strings, and sometimes he would cry because the pain of pressing the strings and everything, and I would just have to encourage him. So he taught me the simplicity of songwriting. I have this because he was also like a virtuoso songwriter, like so crazy, and I'm seeing this kid flowering in front of me and teaching me that I shouldn't worry about all this theory and try to be as fast as possible and like throw all the notes that I can in one song. It's like you can write a song with 2 notes. I'm like, holy crap. He changed my life.
Wow. And
he unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. He got killed in a drunk driving situation.
Holy shit.
And at 24.
Oh my God.
We always had like these parallel lives, you know, and we were always releasing albums. Like when he released his first album or his first few songs, I released my first album. So it was just so amazing to have that relationship with Noah.
Wow.
And I always say that thanks to him, I'm where I'm at right now too.
Yeah.
And it was just so incredible how through teaching too, you learn a lot.
Wow. Yeah. Damn. That must have been tough when that happened.
It was just so bizarre. He was like my little brother, you know. I think I stopped teaching him when he was 17, maybe. I helped him record his first EP and all that. Like with the help of his dad, we hired even amazing musicians too. Hired Kenny Arnoff, that's like an amazing session player. Chris Chaney, which is the bass player for Jane's Addiction.
Oh wow!
And the producer engineer was the guy that did the Hootie and the Blowfish. So it was also a great experience for me too. Like, and once I moved here and I started traveling, we always stay in touch. He always makes sure to call me on my birthday. I will call him on his birthday, or New Year's or Christmas. So yeah, when I heard the news, his dad called me just crying, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like it was just like surreal, you know? And like Noah got killed by a drunk driver. And as a pedestrian, even. He was just waiting to cross the fucking light, and
Jesus.
The drunk driver crossed the red light, and so it's just like even more reason for not drinking, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I was thinking that as you were saying that, like it's almost like these people that come into our lives can be these great teachers and have this great wisdom and this great spirit and be this like mirror for us as well, and offer their gifts, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa. You know, like, do you feel like some, like, do you feel like you need to like carry something on for him, or?
For sure. And that's like, his parents asked me to speak in a funeral memorial. And that's what I told them. I'm like, now I'm carrying something that I started with Noah, you know, like we both started like this journey, and now I'm like, I have this duty to continue. It's like I'm having both of our torches kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, he was like, hey man, here, take this.
Yeah.
Wow. What was it like when you started to write your own music? What was that process like trusting yourself, or were you just messing around, or did you plan it out? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah. Flamenco was the part in the whole story that really helped me out with that. Because it's like I would sit down with the electric guitar and try to write like metal riffs and whatnot, and I was like, oh, this just sounds like Metallica, or this sounds like Iron Maiden, and I'm like, this doesn't sound like me. And when I started playing flamenco guitar, it was almost like it made a click between my hands and the ability to play an instrument and my emotions, which was always missing. So I was able to tap into that kind of storytelling thing that, even though it was not very like materialized, now it is a little more. It was like teaching me that I could connect to a part of me that I could tell stories with the instrument.
You kind of found your groove, like your easy method of translation.
Exactly.
From like source through you out to the vibration sounds.
Yeah. And it was really thanks to flamenco and the rhythms and the expression of the instrument, the dynamics. And when I was just like, well, I need to start making my own music, it was just almost, I didn't have to plan it. It was bizarre. It was just like all of a sudden I started pouring out of me. Like my first EP, I think I did 4 original songs and 1 cover. And it was just like, boom. They were just almost writing themselves. Until this day, that's how I see the whole process of songwriting for me. It's not that I sit down and I'm like, today I'm going to write about this because I'm going through this and this and that. It's almost like they're floating around and all of a sudden, like they go into me like, oh shit, now I need to finish this. Like I need to write, I need to compose this music that just came to me. And usually what happens is like they come to me while I'm going through something. So it's almost like they help me process things. It's almost like spirit sends me like, you need this song to process what you're going through right now.
Yeah. So it's almost like a meditation. You I mean, do you like, hey, I'm going through something, let me just pick up the guitar as a therapy kind of thing and just strum away and then something will come?
Yeah, heavily. Yeah, and when I try to write, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
When I'm like, I need to write a new song, and then I have hundreds of ideas on my phone, and when I listen back to it, I'm like, no, there's no. And usually it's the ones that just come to me and they tell me like, hey, finish me.
It's so funny. It's it's like something that's just wanting to be born, and then we have all these plans. Like, oh man, like I really want this to work out, and if I could just work on that one, and you write them down, and you have the notes, and you have the ideas, and it's like we think that that's going to be good, but then the thing that we're supposed to do just comes. Yeah. My friend said it best on this show. I really liked what he said. He said that everything. He said eternity. Wait, what did he say? He said all art and creation is available in the vaults of eternity, waiting for us to excavate them.
It is.
You just open up the door and everything's there, and you go, oh yeah, I'll take a little of that. I'll take a little of that.
Yeah,
Whatever
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's been such a beautiful spiritual experience, and actually now that I've taken on more of a spiritual practice through meditation and like learning Eastern philosophies and all this type of thing. At first I was like, man, like I started so late. And I'm like, shit, I have so much, I have to reach enlightenment before my soul, like I don't want to reincarnate. I don't know, like I will create all these stories after reading all these books. And then I realized like, oh my God, I've been doing it with a guitar for over 2 decades.
Yeah.
Like all these practices of letting go, of free of judgment, of discipline, of showing up every single day. I've been doing this with a guitar the whole time. Because you gotta practice all those things that you do on a spiritual practices. You gotta do them all the time with the instrument, because you gotta be gentle with yourself. because you know it takes a process. It takes time until you are comfortable. You gotta like have the discipline to do it every single day. Sometimes you have to let go of like that. Like I record and I'm like, no, and then erase.
Yep.
Like, so there's just so many practices that are part of a spiritual journey. I've been doing them without realizing all my life with the guitar.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's an extension of you, right?
Yeah.
And you found the perfect one that's like an extension of you, and you're able to share with the world feelings. How does it come? Does it come in feelings? Does it come in visions, pictures, images, sensations, all of it together?
All of it together. Yeah. It's intense too, because some of them are very intense in the sense that like they come during a time in my life that maybe I was going through something or whatnot. So every time I play it live, they come back. That comes back. So it's just like, you know, I have a song, California, you know, that like it was during my divorce and like a big transition in my life, and just kind of like honoring the past and that whole life and moving on to the new. Till this day, when I play it, it's like all those emotions come back again. So I sometimes I cry on stage as I'm playing it, because it's like, whoa, they're still there.
It's a part of you.
Yeah,
it's personal.
Yeah.
Are you a gypsy?
I think I somehow became one without planning it. You know,
because you have part 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
And 3 too?
Yeah.
3's out?
It's kind of like I'm releasing singles,
okay,
instead of waiting for the whole thing.
Yeah. So
but
how'd
the gypsy journey.
Come about? Yeah, the gypsy journey.
It was so bizarre, you know, because I went to Spain, and I was not a gypsy when I went to Spain to study flamenco, and it's like the life called me into it. Like literally, I end up hanging out with the gitanos, with the gypsies in Spain by default. It was like I was one of them, and they accepted me as one of them too, which is very rare. Like gypsies are very like. And I plugged myself into, and I was El Mexicano. Like whenever they see me on the streets, they will like, El Mexicano. Like, they will recognize me, and so I ended up like hanging out with them sometimes, like doing palmas, like the clapping as they're like playing guitar and singing, and it was just like, whoa, like this is so raw. They're not doing it to be on stage, because I came from LA with the whole like playing the part story. And all of a sudden I'm here with these people that it's kind of like going, I related to the blues. It's almost like going to the deep south, and all of a sudden you're jamming with these 3 black dudes playing like slide guitar, and they're just doing it because they have to, not because like they need it, you know,
they need it for their soul. They need to They need to do it. They have to do it.
Yeah. So if that like ignited that in me, that I was like, whoa, this is like taking music to another level. Like that is not just to show off. Like, here's my technique. This is how badass I play, or like, let me just write like a song that's gonna change the world. It's just like, just because you have to. It's like the spirit, and in fact on the flamenco, how you call it, like culture. Mm-hmm. They say that to be a good flamenco player or dancer or whatever, you need duende, which is like a dark spirit, like an elf that connects to the pain, to the suffering, to all these things, to be able to like express it. And I heard even there when I was there, like, you have duende, like, so I was like, whoa, I guess I do have duende.
Interesting. Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, that to me, when I hear something like that, I think of a sort of like archetypal shaman. Mm-hmm. You know, like transmuting, taking in the sorrow, the suffering, experience all of it, the joy, the suffering, the pain, and then transmuting it into a frequency that hits other people and they feel that too. And it's like a reminder or remembrance of like who we are and what we are and the emotions that we experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is, exactly.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's been such medicine for me.
Yes.
And
me too. Like, I just love it. I mean, like, you know, I'll put your music on in the house. I'm like walking around. Like, if I have to do boring chores and I'm like cleaning, I'm like, damn it. You know what would make this better? A little Javi. I'm like, great, awesome. Now I feel better.
Yeah. No, I'm so proud to have been chosen to do this. You know, and because I don't know if I necessarily I obviously make the decision, but I felt like the spirit was like, you'll do this, and it took me some time to accept the mission as it is.
Why?
Because my ego was involved first.
What did the ego want?
The ego just wanted recognition and to be like a badass, and you know, like the whole fame, fortune, like being a rock star type of thing, you know. And there's way more than that, and I even see that a lot of rockstar people end up realizing that too. Yeah, at some point,
right?
That we hold such a beautiful thing that is a gift for the world, right? And then we're this channel to like give it to the world. It's just such a it's amazing, you know. It's a lot of power too, and that's why I think it gets in a lot of people's egos and heads, because all of a sudden people are like praising you and and all these things, and I've been working so hard to not fall into just like do it for the praise, but do it because I have to. Yeah, and that it's I was chosen to help others even through my music too.
Yeah, there's something special about having people that really love you too, where you're not like, I don't even know who the musicians are right now that are like mainstream top 10 or whatever the hell, top 40. But I imagine that there's just a lot of people that don't really care about them, or don't really know them, or don't really, it's just like passive. Oh, what's on the radio? What's on the top Spotify thing or whatever it is. But when you have like true fans that really appreciate your work and love you and support you, it's almost like, I mean, I don't know what the other side is, but I mean, that's great. It's great. It's a great thing.
Well, it is, as you mentioned earlier, kind of like being a shaman. It's almost like being that priest or something that like people come. It's like, hey, I need you right now to connect me back to God, right? Yeah. So I think sometimes artistry, any music or whatever form, it helps the audience to connect with the divine.
Definitely. What would the world be like without music?
Imagine.
It's like a Twilight Zone episode. Imagine a world, if you will,
with no music.
With no music, except one man found a flamenco guitar.
Yeah. Bringing the message to the world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's everything. I mean, I love it so much. And yeah, I mean, when you were playing around the fire at our retreat, and like, it was like fucking magical. Like, it was magical. It's just watching the flames turning into smoke and everybody's faces glowing from the fire and you just in the zone. And, it was healing. Like it was healing. It's medicine.
Yeah. No, it's such a blessing.
People will say that there's like medicine music, right? Like there's this like distinction between, well, this is medicine music, but I think all music is medicine.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, obviously there's intentional for certain purposes, I guess, that could be considered medicine music, but all of it.
Yeah.
We all use it for something when you need it. You know, you're heartbroken and people are like, I want to put Adele. Yeah. You know, and that might help you through what you're going in that moment through.
That's how I use it. I use it as tools to enhance my life and my being. You know, like, so I listen to everything. And yeah, I tend to listen to like metal when I'm in the gym.
Yeah.
Working out.
Because you need that energy.
I need that
power,
energy. Like I imagine, like, I'm listening to like Iron Maiden or something, and like I'm imagining that I'm there, and it's like, you're hanging at the gallows pole. I'm like, I'm not gonna die. Like,
yeah.
Or like, Metallica,
run
the live.
Through the hills.
Yeah, run for your life.
You're like on the treadmill. You're like, yes, I am.
Exactly. Yeah. And then meditative music or things like that, but. Yeah, I mean it's and I think like you have the kind of music you could put on like for a lot of different situations.
I think so.
You do.
Yeah. I believe so too. I obviously don't hear myself like that because when I listen to my music, I'm analyzing what I could have done better. All these things.
Of course, yeah.
But definitely,
I made some notes. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, but I definitely heard of people that like you said, like for cleaning or just chilling around the house or driving or actually meditating or I've heard people use it in their classroom to calm kids down.
Definitely. I could see that definitely. Yeah.
Like it just makes them like, like kind of focus or something.
Yeah. A cooking, that's another one. Yeah. I like to throw it on when I'm cooking.
Romantic too, a romantic scene.
Definitely. Yeah, so. Light some candles and Yeah, 100%. What who do you look at now when in the world? Like, do you look at, or who do you like? What do you listen to, and where do you gain inspiration from? And is it other musicians, or is it just life? And
Yeah, obviously a little bit of everything. Life itself brings so much inspiration. Just the stories around us always spark. Triggers, good and bad, that I think can become inspiration for art. But in regards of music, I go all over the place because I go through seasons that I listen. Like, for example, a couple months ago, I was going through a season that I was just only listening to Latin music, from like salsa to boleros to bachatas, like just because I wanted to feel those rhythms in my body.
Yeah.
Like integrate them, because I was like, I don't listen to Latin music enough. And sometimes I do it like very specific as a process to integrate things that I want to eventually use in my music. So I was doing that with that purpose. And recently I've been listening to a lot of classical music. Just because I'm like, I'm tired of drums and electric guitars and all that, like young kids music. Classical just has such richness.
Yeah.
That is just so incredible. Like nothing repeats ever. You have all these harmonies and all these movements and all these dynamics. And same thing. I love, to integrate all those things to eventually use them.
Yeah.
Like almost, I don't want to say steal ideas, but it is kind of like stealing.
You're getting inspiration.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting inspiration right from like maybe tones, sound, like all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Because you hear it all.
Yeah.
I mean, classical music, I love classical music. And, sometimes I listen to it and like I'll cry.
Yeah. Super emotional.
Like, holy shit, this is so moving. Holy shit.
That's why it's used for a film.
Yeah.
Because it's charged with such emotional... because when you hear a rock song that might be like a heartbreak rock song, sometimes doesn't sound like a heartbreak rock song, until you hear the lyrics.
Yeah.
But musically, it's just, the classic drum beat. But what classical music really does is really creates a soundtrack for the emotions that are happening.
Yeah, totally.
And that's why I decided to embark myself into instrumental music, which at first I was literally scared. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make a living doing instrumental music, because 80-90% of music has lyrics and vocals. Like music has become almost like backing of a vocalist. And I love when music is the character.
Yes.
When it's the one telling you the story with sounds.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes, I mean, as I've gotten older, I'd say probably the last 10 years of my life, I've listened to probably more instrumental music than vocal music. I'd say that's definitely true, and a lot of the music that I listen to with vocals is usually like classic rock or like older music, you know? Yeah, Pink Floyd and stuff. Oh man, like did you hear that lyric? Or maybe Radiohead, but Radiohead's got that kind of like sing-songy.
Every song has the same singing style.
Yeah. So it's but yeah, when you let the
music
the music speak for itself,
it's powerful.
Yeah, it's like what you said before, actually. You don't have to add all this stuff. That's probably a mistake that a lot of younger musicians make, is like trying to showcase all the things they know, the talents. Oh, I'll put this here and I'll put that there and I'll do this there. But really, I think it's the ability to kind of like feel a song. Like, for example, actually recently, two artists that I like a lot, East Forest and John Hopkins, made a song, like a meditative song, with Ram Dass, with an old Ram Dass recording. And East Forest played the song on his podcast, the original version that he was working on, and it was amazing. It was great. And then he collaborated with John, and John like stripped it down and refined it. Like East Forest's version was still really great, but it's like a whole different song. And now it becomes this kind of like ambient meditative thing.
Sure.
And I was like, oh yeah, like when you strip it down, sometimes it's about what you don't add or what you take away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of almost like with cooking. Like if you had, I don't know, for those that are vegetarians, this might not work for you guys, but like a good steak.
Yeah.
You're not going to add a bunch of things to that.
Right.
Just maybe some salt, some pepper.
That's it.
And then you're good to go.
You're good to go. 4 minutes on each side, medium rare.
Yeah.
Take it off, 5 minutes. Don't touch it. Let it sit there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's the most delicious meal ever.
It's so crazy that like we as human beings think that we need to do so much.
Yeah.
But usually we just create a mess when we do that.
Yeah.
And if we just step out of the way and allow the thing to unfold, because then we think, oh, well, what am I really doing? I need to do. And it's like, nah, man.
We get on the way of
just
things.
Facilitate it.
Yeah. Well, it's like with the whole quantum field, that like the less you get on the way, the more it works with you.
Mm-hmm.
The more you're like forcing things and wishing and like which is just almost, it's like out of tune or something. It's like a guitar that is out of tune, so it's like never gonna sound right. But once you like just chill and let it be and just strum it, and it's just like boom.
Yeah,
like the best. That's, to me, that's I even trained myself on the guitar too. And this is years ago when I was 16. I remember seeing I don't know if you ever heard of Steve Vai, like this, and he had like an article in a magazine or something, and he was talking about tapping into your emotions as you play. And he like, just try that, like do a bend and think that you're like angry or like that. So I started practicing that. So I will just play one note and think of a story or an emotion and just play it over and over and just like reaffirm the emotion as I'm playing the note. And it worked, because now that's how I feel like I play. Like I don't play just to strum an instrument. It's right away, it's like poof, makes me feel something. Like as soon as I hit a note, the way I hit it, it sparks an emotion.
Yeah, it's got that resonance, that extra resonance in it.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I mean, because we're fucking emotional beings, you know? Like we're sensitive, us humans, and to think that we could separate ourselves from that, you know? Like I've heard people talk about music. It's just like, oh, it just sounds too like overly polished or overproduced or too mechanical or robotic, and like, I don't know, like some pop studio 40, whatever, Britney
Sure.
Spears or something like that, whoever I don't even know what the music is nowadays. I have no idea. Like I don't, Billie Eilish, you mentioned before, I think is
Yeah.
like very popular. But I don't know her music. But I mean, there's a difference. I think you can feel it in your soul. When something feels real raw, real.
Yeah, there's no doubt
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful, especially with kids. Those don't have a filter, right?
Yeah.
And I've been now a dad and getting to see my daughter just grow up and just seeing, especially being around music. My God, like she had the ear already. I remember one time when she was like maybe 7 or 8, we were watching this live band in a fair or something, and they were not that good. Everything was like tense and just like, obviously they didn't have mastery of their instruments and stuff. So and she even said like, there's something weird with this band, and like this just doesn't sound right. And yeah, because they're battling their instruments.
Mm-hmm.
They're just they're not in the zone, just flowing. When somebody like it sounds stressful. When
Right.
somebody's like stressed on stage,
Yeah.
so you cannot lie to an audience.
Right.
It's like once you're on stage, talk about vulnerability. Like
Yeah.
like there you cannot lie to them, and it's intense because you feel like everybody sees through you. Like as soon as I feel like I'm doubting or something, I'm like, oh my God, everybody's feeling this right now. Like,
Yeah. They are.
They are.
They are. Yeah, because they're tuned in
Yeah.
so much to you.
Yeah.
Because you're the center point of attention, right? And you're tuned into them because you need, right? Like you kind of want that energy from them too, in a sense, would you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
What's that relationship like between you and the audience? Yeah.
It's intense because especially now that people are more distracted than ever, like you want to feel that connection to, I guess, perform your best too. Otherwise, like if they're distracted, you get distracted, and then it becomes like this just full-on distracted show. So it's almost like you have to really command their attention. And the only way to really do that, I feel like to me, is when I really, it's the spirit needs to speak through me. Like I cannot do it with my mind, that I'm like, I need their attention. I just have to let go of the need for their attention and just be like, spirit, just use me right now. And usually when I let go, that's when people all of a sudden like gravitate towards the music.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the backwards law.
Yeah.
Like, we were trying to like force or create or do something, push something, make something happen, want something so badly, then bye-bye. Yeah. And then as soon as you like surrender that, shit comes to you and you're like, oh, wow, that was easy. Yeah. Oh, I just had to be my fucking self and chill out.
I know. We complicate ourselves so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been such a beautiful journey. Really, music to me has been my religion.
Yeah.
It's been my guru. I don't need anybody. Just music guides me. And the more now that I've studied some like guru teachings and philosophies, I'm like, wow, I've been doing this all this time. Like music has been guiding me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny when you have been doing the thing and then you read about something and then you're like, oh yeah. Well, I guess I didn't need to. Sometimes you don't always need to know the definition of what that thing is. If you can cultivate that feeling, just go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Just stay with it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where does so I mentioned the retreat a couple times. So listeners of the show will know, we at the end of August we held a retreat called Permission. Javi was there. Javi was fucking there, and he brought it. And that was our first big like men's work retreat. Now we're doing more gatherings and stuff, working with plant medicines, fungi medicines. Where did you hop into this journey of like work and men's work and psychedelic work or therapy, or is it just something that, how did that fit into your life and when did that come about?
It was very bizarre because it almost came to me like it was full on manifesting it in a sense. Like first I got in, like in regards to the men's work, I got into Carl Jung's work, to the whole archetypes and all this, but then also the initiation and the lack how men, we don't have the ritual of how do you call it?
Rites of passage.
Rites of passage.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I wish I could have something like that, and also to reconnect to men in my life, because I feel like I mostly have female friends. It seems like women tend to be more, they listen better, you're able to express yourself more, and I think that's why a lot of men end up using their partner a lot as a punching bag,
just dumping everything on them.
Which is dangerous. Like they're there and with their love, and obviously it's beautiful, but I think having men to provide that for other men, it's more powerful, and then we can show up with more power in our relationships.
Totally.
And that's something that I started like contemplating, and Bill full on just presented it to me.
Oh, cool. It started with Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Like I started my relationship with Bill is like he started taking lessons with me.
Yeah.
And then what's nice with teaching somebody like Bill is that I was able to approach the guitar lessons in a spiritual way. Like I started like with not every student is receptive in this form,
Right.
So I think he saw material in me to bring that to the table in the men's work.
Yeah.
Where maybe I feel like I have a lot of female energy more than my male energy. I'm not like a physical guy. I don't like exercise really. I do Tai Chi, which I find like that's very feminine in a sense.
Awesome. I did some today.
Yeah.
With our brother Nathan.
Yeah. And then being an artist, you had to tap a lot into the feminine energy.
Sure.
So I felt like I needed that masculine part coming into my life, and then Bill presented it. I was like, okay, perfect. Yeah. I needed it. And it was right after my 41st birthday. So I was like, okay, this is my rite of passage kind of experience.
Yeah, it's so important to have that rite of passage because, you look at the world and who's in charge and all of the things that people are doing. They're all people. They none of them have had that rite of passage, and they get stuck in the kind of corporate money, consumerist greed grind. And they never see a way out of it,
And not only that, but we get stuck as little boys.
Yep.
That we're never told, like, hey, now you're a man, fucking step into it, dude.
Get your shit together.
Yeah, get your shit together, as I told you.
You're like, someone said something like really nice around the fire at our house or whatever. But it was also like, you're like the man of the house now and all this shit. And Javi just turns to me and goes, time to get your shit together, bro. I'm like, oh, fuck, you're so right. Yeah.
Well, I guess like it would be nice because I don't know if my dad ever told me, maybe the way he told me never really supported like honoring that. It's almost like just when we hear that, it's just like, dude, like, what's up? You suck.
Yeah.
Instead of like, now you're a man. We are looking at you as a man, like the men around you, like your grandpa, your uncles, whatever, honor you as now a man instead of still a boy that has to get his shit together.
Yep.
Which I think that's what's been missing in our society.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a proper rite of passage in a lot of older traditions, where the boy around like 12, 13, somewhere around that age, the way I heard it was Joseph Campbell explained it as like women sort of naturally have a more powerful rite of passage biologically.
Sure.
They bleed, they get a period.
That's it.
So that is a very, and granted, there can be more of a tradition for that for women too. Like in older traditions, they would also have like the tents the moon tents and things like that where women would go. And so, I get that could be more of a tradition here as well. But for the boys, there really isn't anything. I don't know. What do you have, like a wet dream one night? And you're like, oh, I guess that happens now or something. Like, but like there needs to be sort of, boys need to be kind of, grabbed and like, hey, you can still have fun, but you're becoming a man.
Yeah, and now you have responsibilities.
You have to carry on the traditions and the values and the morals of our way. Otherwise, we're in a total fucking mess because that's just not happening. But with the reintroduction of this kind of stuff, I mean, I've made more friends in the past like year, than I have in a long time. And it's like just that connection. Actually, Bill, he played a guitar song in a medicine ceremony a couple weeks ago. And afterwards he said, that was the first time I played for that many people before. And he's like, I was like nervous, but I just like kept going. And I was like, dude, it was amazing. Like it was amazing. And it's so funny how we can be our own like biggest critics. But like when you're a kid, you're just going for it. You're just going for it. You're just doing it, And then somewhere along the way, we judge ourselves more. But yeah, thanks for teaching him because he played that awesome song. Yeah,
it's all his practice, really. That ultimately what makes you better, Like as a teacher, maybe you're only 10% of the journey. Then the 90 is your own practice.
Yeah. So what do you got going on right now? What are you working on? What's happening? What are you excited about? What's
the new era?
Yeah.
I'm working on new music. I'm gonna be releasing a solo album. Because a lot of my albums, like the Gypsy Journey Part 1 and 2 and the singles of the 3, have been with a full band. And right now I just want to focus on just the guitar. Talking about like the true fans that I have, they say like, it's nice to hear your songs with all these instruments and stuff, but we just love the guitar. So I want to give some space for the guitar to just do what it does.
Hell yeah. Nice.
Without filling it up with all these things like drums, bass, sax, violin, and which is fun. I love producing things in that level, in that capacity, but having just the guitar speaking. And now when I listen back to the tracks that I've been recording, I'm like, this is beautiful, actually.
Nice.
It's almost like getting to hear myself deeper. And when I hear like the full production, it's like I'm only hearing all these ideas that I had and everything. And now I'm almost like getting to hear like an intimate relationship with myself.
Wow, that's really exciting. So are you playing like that? You have shows you're playing, right?
Yes. And I'm just doing mostly solo gigs.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're very intimate and very like raw and vulnerable, if you want to call it, because you don't have a band behind you, and when I'm telling my stories, and then it's just the guitar and the audience in front of me, it's just like boom, and like
that's
here
awesome.
I am.
What do you got coming up?
I have 3 new songs that I'm working on, and then I'm releasing some of the old songs as a solo with just the guitar.
Okay, cool. Like live performances, shows, live streams.
In regards of that,
I think I saw a live stream thing that
I'm doing a live stream on Monday, the 25th for Facebook.
Okay.
That is my first attempt to ask people to pay for it.
Okay.
It's like a ticketed, now Facebook allows events, like ticketed events on live streams.
Cool.
I don't know if people are willing. Apparently it's not going too well. Like even though I ask a lot of people like, who wants me to go live? And I had hundreds of people say like, yeah. And now nobody's buying tickets for it. Dang. When it's free, it's okay.
Well, maybe we can get this, if we can get this out before Monday, maybe we can help you out.
But then I have a band show. Actually, I'm doing a Christmas show.
Oh, cool.
So I'm doing some Christmas songs. I actually released in 2009, I released a Christmas album.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I didn't know. Is that on Spotify?
No, because you had to get the rights stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I only play them live.
Oh, cool. Oh, nice.
And back in the day, I made some CDs that I was able to just sell on shows.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying when you can't put them out there and
license them.
I get flagged a lot for shit.
Yeah.
On the show and stuff.
Like 12 tracks that I need to license.
Yeah. Can I license a track from you to play on the show
Yeah.
on this
I
episode?
give you permission.
All right, sweet. Permission, baby. Yeah.
But
Nice.
yeah, like, and yeah, the goal is next year, I've been playing the same kind of shows, I guess, for way too long. So I'm ready for the next level. And releasing this new material, I just want to have the content to be able to sell the show to the world, I guess.
Yeah.
Because my plan is to tour. Like, you can only do so much as a local artist.
Right.
Then you burn yourself out. You burn the audience out. They have enough of you.
Yeah. When was the last time that you were on tour? I mean, because, with the COVID thing and everything.
Yeah, like
Shit's been like kind of...
Yeah, because I did mostly North American kind of tour, like Canada, Mexico, a few states in the States. And that was like, the last one was 2018, 19.
Yeah. Do you like touring?
I love touring. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's intense. It takes a toll on you. But I feel like now that I have, like, I love the path that my life has been taking with my spiritual practice. And so I feel like I have certain goals now as I tour, like not only just play at night, but also find yoga studios or why not, like to facilitate some music for meditation or maybe for breath work. And so then I fill up with light too, because I don't know, playing at night, and unfortunately music is surrounded with alcohol and
right
people partying. So I want to like balance it out too. That way when I'm touring, it's not just based like waiting all day to play at night. And then you have this amazing night, and then the next you're all alone again. It's so bizarre.
Yeah. So you get maybe there's different yoga studios or parks or different kind of settings.
Even teaching, also doing master classes as I'm on tour too.
Oh, cool.
In the town that I'm in, and find 10 people or whatever from the town, and do more things than just. Because before it was just playing and partying. Yeah.
Now you have more energy too.
Yeah.
Because you're not hungover. And
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah.
And you have to do interviews, and there's just a lot that goes to it, but
yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah. What are you doing, like radio shows and stuff? Like 10-minute segments or something?
Yeah.
Or,
Sometimes half an hour.
What do they ask you? Like, what do you like? Do they? Like, what do you play? Hey, what are you playing? And what do you...
Yeah, like your story, sometimes, or there's been interviews where they have like a specific theme.
A theme, okay.
A theme that then just talk about that.
Okay, yeah, because I always think like if you're doing like a morning radio or like something like that, like you only have like a limited amount of time, so
which usually is promotional.
Promotion, you're plugging your thing.
You're plugging in the single, the album, or whatever you're doing, the show.
Yeah.
And then bam, just done. Like a quickie. Yeah. I like that now with podcasts, there's like a like bigger space to share more. No? Like it seems like this. Like we've been talking for over an hour or so.
Yeah.
So you go deeper.
Yeah. Yeah, what's let's go even deeper. What's something that you want to share with the people that maybe that really is like a big part of your life and informs your life, informs your music, and maybe it's a little personal to you. That's not really a great question.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I know.
Well,
I was trying to think of something specific, but I mean, I know you mentioned your daughter and your spiritual practice, right? So, and the music itself. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, what else is there that makes you you? Is there a particular moment or event in your life that really stood out as shaping you that we didn't already talk about, you know, or something like that?
Well, right now, I think obviously we have this like common reality that the world faced because of the COVID experience. And to me, what brought to light the most was like to tap even deeper to our own intuition. Like there's just so much information out there for everything, and it's so black and white too that it's like we're forced almost to take a side on everything. And we're forgetting that we carry wisdom already. and that to me has been huge. I've been really practicing that like the past 2 years or so when all these things started, because right away I felt like, man, like this is powerful. There's a big opportunity for us to grow. Like as soon as it started, like, because I was like, oh my God, this is the first time that the streets are empty. We're all in lockdown, facing ourselves finally. What are we going to do? And unfortunately, I've seen a lot going wrong in society because of that, because people are not willing to face themselves.
Yeah.
Like when people take journeys of plant medicine, a lot are scared, right?
Yeah.
That some don't even want to do it. And they're not scared of the medicine. They're scared of themselves.
Right.
We're scared of ourselves. What do we gonna look like? How does it look inside for real? And I've been willing to see all that without even the medicine. Like to really face who you are all the time and accept that, like, I've been too lazy on this. I could be better on this. The way I express myself could be a lot better. Like it's all there. Like if we contemplate deeply, and that's why meditation helps a lot to like really contemplate things. So maybe sometimes it's not meditation. You're sitting on contemplation, which can be different than meditation. But I think contemplating is a great path to get to know ourselves more and see what can I do better, what needs fixing, and then do it.
Yeah.
Doing it, that's the next challenge, right?
Yeah.
Because we can all contemplate everything and even accept it. And I've seen so many people that say like, yeah, I'm quitting drinking. And people that say it out loud, I always like, you're probably going to be drinking in 2 weeks. You don't say the things out loud first. Just do it. And be like, I haven't been drinking for a year now. Like, oh shit, we didn't even realize, you know?
Right.
I didn't say it when I did it. I just did it. Just do it.
Yeah.
And the more I feel like sometimes we say things, it's like to peace our mind that like we're on the path of doing something.
Yeah, we kind of can trick ourselves sometimes to think that we've already done the thing.
Yeah.
Because we've said it out loud. We've told other people. Other people think we're doing it, but we're not doing it.
No, we're not doing it.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm done. I downloaded this app called 75 Hard. It's like this challenge for 75 days. You do something. So as soon as you download the app, it starts. You go. And if you don't complete all the things, the guy comes on and he's got his arms folded and he's like, you failed. Time to start over. So if you fail, you have to start over. So I was like at a party and I was like, yeah, I'm doing this thing 75 hard, but I haven't been able to complete it yet. Like I just started it. And like my friend was just like, so you're not doing it? I'm like, yeah, that's right. I'm not doing it. I'm like, I want, but yeah, it's, it's an interesting thing being a human being. You've given me the sense that like, through your journey and the experiences you've had, I'm getting the sense that I feel like you're in a place right now where I don't want to say yes. What I want to say is there's a sense of grace or ease that I feel from you. Like you understand that this is the sense that I'm getting from you. You could tell me if I'm wrong or not. But like
not every day. Yeah.
But it seems like that. It just seems like your general perspective or attitude is like, look, sometimes shit's tough. Sometimes shit sucks. Sometimes I don't want to do shit. And sometimes there's real challenges and scary shit. But I just keep showing up and keep doing the thing and, just sticking to my spiritual practices. And it seems like you have a lot of grace with yourself, too. Like, I don't get the impression that you're, like, shaming yourself or beating yourself up a lot.
Yeah, not anymore. I used to more. And it's just been a practice. And it's funny because people that are close to me always hear me related to the guitar. I'm like, life is like playing an instrument.
Yeah.
If you want to be good at it, you gotta sit with it. You gotta like do the work.
Yeah.
There's nobody that's gonna hand you anything. Like you mentioned, Tony Robbins or all these like coaches. You can spend as many thousands of dollars that you want for a coach to tell you what you have to do, but ultimately you're the one that has to sit down and do the work.
Right. Show up, sit with yourself, face yourself, do the work, do it again.
Again, every single day. And thankfully I've been blessed with discipline. And every morning I get up, before I do anything, I do my session of breath work and meditate and Tai Chi. Nice. And then I get on my day. That way I can start, like when I don't do it, I feel like something is off. Like sometimes I'm not able to manage my emotions as well, because you're always going to face things. Like not because I meditate, bad thing is not going to happen, but at least when bad things happen, I'm able to like manage it better. And that's all. Every day I have to do it. And I do it. And before bed, same thing. Like to just not got to bed with all what happened through the day. Like I had to kind of wash it off. Mm-hmm. That way I can, the next day I wake up not carrying from the day before, because that things accumulate. And I think that's why people build stress and anxiety, because you just keep accumulating things and you don't have a practice to wash things off and away.
Yeah.
Like all the tools are there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, give yourself a spiritual shower.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? I mean, we clean ourselves, we wash our clothes, got to wash our souls.
Yeah. Even one thing that I've been doing a lot lately, shaking things off physically.
Yeah.
Like a dog, you know, when like...
Yeah.
It helps massively.
Yeah.
Like even if it's just somebody cuts you off and then you build that like rage or discomfort. And then also like, you stop actually thinking about things when you shake it off. Just a marvelous tool there. It
is really great. I was in the car yesterday and I was driving somewhere down near like Cherry Creek, and I was just kind of like marveling at like the beauty of the area and of the trees, and it's so beautiful right now. The orange and the red and the yellow trees and the green. And it was also a full moon the other day, you know, and it was kind of a gray day. But I was still enjoying it. And then I look to the right of me, I hear this noise. I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm at like a traffic light. And this woman is in her truck, and she's got her like half her body out the window. And she's like, "You're a little bitch," to the guy behind. She's like, "You're a little fucking bitch." And she was so fucking angry, like cursing at this guy.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there, and I just kind of like, the light changed, and I kept driving, and I was just like, I just started laughing. I was like, man, it's so funny that we can get so angry sometimes, because I've been there. I've been so there. You know, why did you fucking, and then like now, like I'm so worked through a lot of anger where I'm able to sort of like kind of just laugh at it sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes Jen and I will get into an argument, and like we'll just one of us will just crack a smile. It's like, what are we even
fighting?
What are we fighting about? Because a sock went missing? Like what is this? Who cares?
Well, and in some of the work that I've done with in regards of sometimes with relationships, whatever they are, ultimately sometimes there's a deeper truth of why we have that tension that then like becomes an argument over a sock.
Right.
And then if we tap to the truth, it's like, honey, the reason why is because blah, 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 and then you actually spill the truth of this tension that you're carrying that might not even involve the person. It's just that you're carrying, again, you don't do your cleansing.
Right.
So we carry all this bullshit, and then we take it out on the people that we love.
Right. Yeah, it was really like something about like my father from when I was like 7.
Yeah.
Or something with it that like is like coming up recently or something. And the great thing is the more and more you do the work, the more space there is, mm-hmm. and the shorter the distance is for recovery.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, I fucked up, and then it's like, oh yeah, I just fucked up. Okay, cool. Instead of like a month.
Yeah, a month of suffering. Now it's like a day.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, that felt so good.
It feels so good to just let it pass through.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important. And the thing is, like, it takes discipline. And discipline is like sometimes the hardest thing to like step into. That like, no, it's like every day I have to do this every day. Like, and thankfully the guitar trained me to know that like if I wanted to get good, I had to practice every day. So I just developed that habit of discipline, and helps me so much now for good things. And I had the discipline to party.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I must party today.
Yeah. Oh man, I was good at that too.
Yeah.
They're fun times, but different times. It's like you're a different person. You're the same person, but you're different. You just, enjoy different things. How's the discipline going for you around what you've been calling in, that fire that you've cultivated, and what you've been calling in?
Great, I think, in regards of embodying first cultivating the friendships. No, I feel like connecting, reaching out. Like, I love that we have that WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
And able to support others and be there for others, and knowing that there's people for me too, like when it's needed.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing, like the women in my life that have seen me go through all this, now that know that I have this group, they're like, man, I feel so happy for you because you called it. I called it in and I needed it. And so I guess it's just in regards of the discipline for it, is like knowing what do I have to offer. And that's a conversation that I had a little bit today with Bill. Like, how does it look for you in this group? What you want to offer? So it's kind of like, what do I offer? Because obviously it could be so easy as like, well, I'll just play for you guys. Like, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
But then how it looks as maybe some sort of, I don't know, class, workshop, or a dynamic, or something that I can offer. I guess that's the part that I've been, because I'm also like dealing with so much in my life that I'm like, like, how can I like also show up in this group strong, present, and offering something.
Don't even think about it.
Yeah.
You're already doing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could probably just continue this conversation. I mean, this has been a really kind of fluid conversation. Hasn't really been like a hardcore interview here, just hanging out, having fun. But I mean, anything else that you want to say? I mean, to why are we here on this planet? What are we supposed to be doing here? Or, any
enlighten people.
As we wrap
words
up
of
here.
wisdom.
Yeah.
Follow me on my social media.
Yeah, perfect. What is it? What's the handle?
Right? El Javi Music.
El Javi Music.
On every platform.
Every platform.
Like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. They're all the same. El Javi Music.
Cool. I'll put all the links in the show notes. And then website?
eljavi.com. That's an easy one.
Yeah, follow him there, folks. His music is incredible. We're going to play some music for you right now as we exit. And till next time.
Enjoy life.
Enjoy life. Be present. Much love. Peace.
Breathe.
Hey, hope you guys enjoyed that episode as much as I did. And I enjoyed the fuck out of that episode. And I get stoked when I really have a good podcast or something really, really exciting that I'm looking forward to. So if you're stoked, like I'm stoked, share this thing, tell people about it, like, share, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating review on Apple Podcasts, do all those things. Check the show notes, show description, check out our sponsors, get the discount codes and awesome stuff. And consider joining the Patreon. All the links are in the show notes. Thank you to everybody. Thanks, Javi, for dropping wisdom and dropping some awesome tunes. Till next time, much love. Peace.